Hey everyone, it's Stephanie from Steph and Key TV. I know it's been a minute, but I'm trying to get back on track. We are here for the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Before we start anything, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps our channel. And please let me know what you thought of today's video in the comments below. All right, New Jersey, let's get into it. So we're picking up where we left off. Teresa leaves so she can go visit her mother's grave because just being around all the other women and their moms and her not being there with her mother is just too hard for her. So she leaves. Everyone's like very emotional, and they just decide to keep the party going and eat and just talking about like how hard that must be for Teresa and how close they are to their moms. And Jennifer jumps in and explains that's why she wanted her parents to move to New Jersey, just so they can be closer. And her mom's giving her a little bit of a side eye because I feel like she kind of knows like where this is going. So now the conversation jumps over to Dolores. Melissa's like, oh yeah, when me and my mom got here, she was asking where Dolores lives now. Melissa says she's got so many homes. And then Jackie jumps in about like, oh, she asks Dolores' mom, do you like David's new house? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, what do you think about David? Oh, you know. She said he's a good doctor. So then Jennifer jumps in and she's like, oh, did you tell your mom what the psychic said? And Dolores is like, shut up. And then Jennifer proceeds to tell her about like David not being Dolores' soulmate. And she's just like, okay, thanks. She's like, maybe, these girls just, she goes to her mom. She's like, these girls just love to talk about my relationship. And Jennifer telling my mother something I probably wouldn't have. And Jennifer's just like, oh, well, I thought you. And she's like, we're fine. We're good. Nobody believes her. Jackie's just like, I thought, because just at the reunion, you said that you were pretty resentful. They showed the flashback. At first, I was just like, okay, leave Dolores alone. But they do show the flashback of the reunion, which was not too long ago from when this was shooting. And she said she was resentful and she was mad about not getting the ring. So, like, now everybody's like, okay, so, like, what is it now? And she's like, she's fine, she's good. All right, so let's drop it. Whatever. So Dolores loses it. She's just like, look, I went through it with Frank. She's like, with David, I have peace. He doesn't yell. He doesn't hit. He doesn't, cause drama and stuff. But I was, like, stuttering over my words just now. Because when she said he doesn't hit, and I was like, wait a minute. Did Frank hit? Because I'm like, why would you even bring that up if that wasn't something that you went through? And the only relationship that we know of for Dolores was with Frank. So I'm like, was he hitting her? Because, like, that's not cool. And how are we, like, liking this guy? I mean, Frank's, like, a fun guy, and he's, like, great for the show. But I'm like, if he was hitting her, like, okay, that's not just old school, that's abuse. So, like, that's not cool at all. And I'm like, how are you still friends with this man? But she has a piece with David. She did say, remember when they were at the little cabin place that Marge took them to, she said David was putting it down in the bedroom. So I feel like she's got like a nice doctor. He's good to her kids. He's good to her family. She gets doctor advice whenever she needs it, free checkups, I'm sure, and he's putting it down in the bedroom. So, like, leave her alone. She said she's good. She's good. All the moms of the women jump in and tell everybody to back off Dolores. So, like, let it go. So now we jump back over to Jennifer's mom, and Jennifer's trying to get, like, all the women, like Jackie's mother and Dolores' mother, they don't live with their husbands. She's trying to get them to give Jennifer's mother some advice about, like, it's fine, you don't have to live with your husband. It's, like, it's all groovy. And Jennifer's mom is like, but I care because of embarrassment. Like, in my, like, culture, it's just, like, not a thing for my husband to be living with my son-in-law. But she's like, but I am much happier without him at home. So it just starts to pile on. And she's like, wait a minute, has the conversation turned to me? Let's drop it. So, like, they all laugh. They move on. The women are happy not living with their husbands. Jennifer's mom seems pretty happy, but she's embarrassed about the conversation. So maybe Jennifer should get a new storyline. So now we're over to the house husbands. They're playing golf. They suck. And then they start trying to make bets about... So Joe brings up Melissa's Joe brings up the fact, like, hey, let's, like, the closest to the red flag, no, was it No, it was Evan. Evan's like, hey, who can get closest to the red flag? And Joe's like, whoever loses has to pull their pants down, run to the red flag and back. And then Frank tries to act all like, like, why are you always trying to see my junk? But then he takes it up a level and he's like, you know what? I'm going to hit it to the blue flag, which I guess is farther. If I hit it to the blue flag, Joe, you have to kiss my ass. And he's like, and if I miss, I'll kiss Joe's ass. And everybody's like, wait a minute. We're trying to like pull streak run, but now you're trying to like kiss people's asses. So like Frank is the one who like took it to the next level. He goes to swing, completely flops, messes it all up. They're like running to not get hit. And he ends up having to kiss Joe's ass. As soon as he gets ready, like Evan and Marge's Joe take out their phones because they're like, we're catching this. And he kisses Joe's ass. And I'm just like, these men. These men. All right now. So they sit down and start like gossiping about they're worse than their wives. They gossip about everything. They start gossiping about Teresa and her new man, and then Joe spills the beans. I feel like Melissa's been doing a pretty good job, but Joe, he has such a big mouth, so he spills the beans about Teresa being in love and how happy he is for her. And you know, like, what they're going to do. They're just going to run back and tell their wives and make a big deal out of it. So I'm like, Joe, just shut your mouth. Shut it. So Teresa goes to meet up with her realtor lady, the Michelle chick. They look at this new house. It looks beautiful. It has like a basement suite that's perfect for Gia. And it just looks really lovely. I don't know where she's living now, so maybe she got it, maybe not. She doesn't, I mean, it's not smart to buy the first house she sees, so she's going to look at some more houses. But Michelle also wants to throw like a get together and introduce Teresa to a friend of hers. Because she doesn't know that Teresa's in a serious relationship because Teresa's been keeping it hidden from everyone. So like people keep trying to set her up and she's like, oh, sure, but she's not interested. So I'm like, girl, stop playing games. So she's going to meet this new guy at the Michelle's party and hopefully like, I'm like, oh, I hope Michelle doesn't come back. Do we really need her? Like, I don't feel like with this cast, we need friends of. Like, we just really don't. So Melissa and Joe meet up with Marge and Joe. Marge's Joe brings out his phone and shows Melissa, because I guess she didn't know about the whole golf trip. He shows Melissa the video of Frank kissing Joe's ass. She's just like, why? So then they start talking about Teresa and just her having to leave like the tea party and stuff. And Joe just tells Melissa, yeah, your mother-in-law was so sweet to me. It was just hard. She went straight to her mother's grave and it was just hard for her. Then Marge, of course, brings up Teresa's new boyfriend. And she's like, yeah, Joe told everybody that she's in love. And I'm like, what did I say? I told you this was going to happen, that Joe was going to run his big mouth and all the husbands were going to run back and tell their wives. And so, of course, Joe told Marge and now she's bringing it up and Melissa's trying to act like, you know, I don't know what he's talking about. Shut up, Joe. And Joe's just like, yep, she's in love. And Marge keeps like, she's like, I know like they're banging each other, because what is she talking about, like all this pineapple juice and she's in love? She's not banging someone she's not in love with. Like she's not like in love with someone she's not banging. So, and I'm like, Marge, let it go. She is obsessed this season with Teresa's sex life. I don't know what it is. It's a little strange, but she's obsessed. Melissa's trying to keep her mouth shut. I would be doing the same thing. I know nothing. Keep me out of it. So everybody's getting ready for Michelle's party. Jennifer tells Gabriella about the party and she's like, a little like tequila shots never hurt anybody, or like never did me wrong, or something like that. And Gabriella is like, are you sure about that? She knows her mother. Then we head over to like Jackie and Evan. She's just like warning him about like not letting Joe influence his drinking. And he's like, but I lived in a frat party, you know, like the liver's strong. So then we head over to Teresa and she's getting her makeup done and Gia's there. And Teresa's just like, yeah, Michelle's trying to set me up with this guy, but I'm not interested. She's like, maybe he'll be good for Dolores. And the makeup artist is like, wait a minute, she's not with David anymore? And Teresa's like, no, but I mean, she doesn't have, Teresa's like, she's with him, but she doesn't have a ring on her finger. And I'm like, yeah, but Teresa, neither do you. And I feel like Dolores has been with David, however their relationship is, she's been with him a lot longer than you've been with this new guy. So like, why would you try to set Dolores up? just because she doesn't have a ring on her finger, but this guy's not okay for you because all of a sudden after a few months you're serious. I'm like, Teresa's trash. We head over to Dolores and Frank. I mean, I don't know how I feel about Frank now. After, like, Dolores talking about hitting, like, I really hope that Frank did not hit her. Because, I mean, it's hard not to like Frank. Like, it's just hard. She tells him that her biopsy went well, and he hugs her, you know, she's like, you know, like, we're not mushy like that, but, like, I understand, like, thank you. And she's like, I was scared. And he's like, I was scared too. So, like, he's just like, let's go to the party, have a good time. And Dolores warns him about Joe. Like, don't let him influence your drinking. And Frank's like, yeah, Joe is just, like, a bad influence. So, I mean, I just, like, we know it's, like, always going to be Dolores and Frank, no matter what, whether David's here or not. But I just, like, they just seem like they have just such a good friendship. So I really, really hope that he was not hitting her. I will not be able to let that go if he did. Because that's not... No, Frank. I really hope not. So we're at Michelle's house. They're having the party. Teresa gets there early. They start talking. Jackie and Evan get there. Michelle has a lot of dress side boob going on. It was excessive. I'm used to, like, a lot of cleavage from these housewives. Michelle's got a whole lot of side boob. I was like, Lord, girl. So then the rest of the ladies get there. Marge starts running her mouth and tells the ladies, yeah, Joe told all of us that Teresa's in love. And Michelle's like, oh, I wish I had known that because I have a guy that I'm trying to set her up with. And Marge is like, no, don't even worry about it because she's in love. And as soon as she says that, Teresa walks by. And Teresa's like, who's in love? And Marge is like, crap. And Michelle is like, Marge told us you're in love. Marge is just like, crap, just standing there. And Teresa's like, who told you that? And Michelle, all of these names. Melissa is standing there like, not me. And Marge is just like, your brother told us you're in love. So she runs over to Joe and she's like, you told everybody I was in love? And all the guys are around and he's just like, I don't think I said that. And then of course Marge's Joe jumps in and he's like, yeah, he told us you're in love. She was like, why did you say that? And Joe's like, I don't remember saying that, but you look stunning tonight. You look so beautiful. And she was like, you're trying to change the subject. And just walks off. Like, we knew she wasn't going to be mad at Joe, like, the love of her life. She's never going to be mad at her brother about, like, something like that. So, it's like, it's squashed, it's run, it's over. So, they go back to having a good time. Jennifer and Bill get to the party. I forgot all about Jennifer. I didn't even realize she wasn't even there at the party, but they get there a little bit late. She's like, you want to do a shot? And Bill's like, yeah, why not? My car's not here tonight, so he doesn't have to worry about her throwing up in his car. So they get a shot. Melissa's drunk. She gets Jackie a drink. They're all like, all the ladies are talking. I don't think Jennifer's not there yet, like in the group. But Joe walks by Teresa and he's like, don't be mad. And she's just like, I can't believe he's running his mouth. And Melissa's just like, he wants you to be happy. And they start talking about sex. Oh yeah, Melissa's like, because Joe's a lover. And she's telling the ladies, you can tell she's drunk. Because I'm like, girl, shut up. She's like, the first time me and Joe had sex, there was like 10 dozen roses on my doorstep. And just saying like how romantic he is. And then Marge was like, well, the first time me and my Joe had sex, he was like, I gotta take a shower because I don't want to smell like you because my wife will find out. Because, you know, we know that Marge and Joe got into a relationship while they were married to other people. And and they were like laughing and cracking up and Teresa high fives her. And I'm just like, okay. I don't know if I would be high fiving to that. Not trying to judge Marge, but like, no, I don't know if I'd be high-fiving to, like, me cheating on my husband. I mean, she's very happily married now, so it worked out, but still, like, we just had, like, this whole drama about cheating rumors, and you're, like, high-fiving to you cheating on your husband. Yeah, I don't know if that's, like, high-five quality. I'm pretty sure if we saw guys doing that, we would not be okay with that. So Dave shows up, the guy that Michelle's trying to hook Teresa up with. They start asking him questions. They say he looks young. He's like, yeah, I get a lot of sleep and I go to the gym a lot. And Teresa's like, So then Michelle takes Dave to get a drink, and Teresa's like, no bueno, he sleeps too much. Marge is like, what? If he naps, he's dead to me. So they're just saying, like, she's trying to come up with any excuse to not be with this, to not give this guy a chance, because she's in love with her boyfriend, and she just won't admit it. So they're just cracking jokes. And Teresa's like, well, maybe for Dolores, maybe he can hook up with Dolores. And I'm just like, girl, you know that Dolores is with David. Like, even if, like, you don't want her to be, you're, like, supposed to be her best friend on the show. And you guys have known each other since you were, like, kids. So, like, if anybody's gonna crack jokes about her relationship, it shouldn't be Teresa. So then Marge brings up the fact that David got Dolores a new car, a nice new car. And Teresa says that pisses her off because she's like, I don't want no car, I want a ring. And Melissa says the same thing. Well, Marge is just like, what's wrong with that? And Melissa's like, no, if I'm trying to get married, I don't want a car. I'm gonna throw the keys at you. I want to get married and move in with you. And Jackie's even like, well, how do you know that's not like what he asked her, what she wanted for her birthday? And she said a car. And Teresa and Melissa are just not buying it. They're like, F him. He should have got her a ring. F the car. I feel like it's a nice car. What's wrong with the car? So now everybody's talking about Dolores. Michelle, mind your business. She's like, well, maybe I should hook up Dolores. Is she single? Everybody's told you she's with David. So they start talking about how, like, David is stalling because he got Dolores the Porsche instead of the ring. They bring their husbands into it. It's just like, get a life, all of y'all. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. So then Teresa is texting her dude. Melissa is drunk, and she's trying to see what he's texting her. She gets some text, and she's like, I'm going home. So we know what's about to go down. She's, like, going home. Melissa's walking her out. She's wasted. Dolores is like, she thinks Teresa's leaving because she's upset, and they're like, no, she got a booty call, she gotta go. So now that Teresa's gone, all of them are talking about, like, Teresa and her new dude. Marge is like, why won't she tell us? And Dolores is like, it's hard for her because she's been through a lot, so she wants to keep this new relationship to herself. And Dolores in her confessional is like, I understand because this was a judgmental crowd. Dolores, if you only knew that Teresa was judging your ass too, she's trying to set you up with somebody else, knowing that you got a dude. So your best friend is judging you too. So, like, she's just trying to stick up for Teresa to the crowd, and they're just talking about, like, so if you want to know anything about Teresa, ask Joe. Because they said, Melissa's like, you always running your mouth, talking about how, like, I just banged my wife. And Dolores jumps in, which she probably shouldn't have. Knowing Joe, but she jumps in and she's like, David wouldn't talk like that. That just sets it all off. Sets it all off. So then Joe starts mocking her and stuff and talking about, oh, I'm so happy with Dave. Dolores is like, if I wasn't happy, you would know it. She's like, I threw my husband out when I was 9 months pregnant. So if I wasn't happy with this man, I wouldn't be with him. Joe is like, you're in denial. She's like, well, I don't know, like, what you're trying to say, but I know that I don't want to be with someone who gets mad at me for walking ahead of him. Whew. Melissa's like, She's like, true tea. But, I mean, she's just cringing because they're starting to go back and forth. And you know how Joe is. You know how he is. And he just lays into Dolores, talking about, like, you think you're so happy, you're in denial. Like, Joe, like, Frank, I love you, Frank, but you ruined this woman. She's a broken woman. And it's just like, Lord. Marge is just like, oh my gosh. Like, and he's just laying into her. Nobody's like, hey, Joe, shut your mouth. Like, he is ripping into her. And Jackie in her confessional makes a good point. She says Joe is really talking to Melissa. He's trying to say, like, you might think that you want all of this independence, but if you don't have a man in your life stabilizing you, you're going to be broken too. And I feel like he is. I feel like in a way he is trying to make it seem like, hey, look at Dolores. She's broken. She's not happy. She doesn't have the ring that she wants. Is this the kind of life that you want, being all independent? And it's just foul. Nobody's stopping him either. Like, nobody's walking Dolores away. Like, you don't need to hear this. They're all just standing there, like, watching and listening. I'd be like, can we not? Like, can we just stop? So finally Marge jumps in, and she's telling Joe, like, that's very chauvinistic things to say. Like, stop. And then Melissa jumps in, not on Dolores' behalf, but she's like, Dolores, like, it just seems like, you know, that it just feels like you're not happy. She said, like, I heard that you got this nice gift. She's like, I don't want to talk behind your back, even though they were. We heard that you got this nice gift, and some people feels like it's stalling. And Marge was like, well, some people, and Melissa was like, yeah, who? Like, it's more than a few. It's like some. Marge is like, well, you and Melissa, well, you and Teresa. And Melissa was like, not just me and Teresa, it was Evan, it was Jackie, it was Michelle. She starts listing, she's taking everybody down with her. And Dolores is just like, look, I don't appreciate you all always talking about my relationship. Like, look, we're in a good place. He's like a part of my family. Our relationship is going slower than most people would think, but whatever. And she's like, and I don't, like, I'm pissed now. So F all of y'all. Frank, I want to go. F you. Go F yourselves. She's getting her coat. Frank, let's go. So Jackie jumps in as Dolores is storming off and just saying, like, there's just so many mixed messages. There was no transition in between I don't want to ring to, like, well, I want to ring to now I don't want to ring. And she's like, I'm just confused by it. And Dolores hears it and she's just like, well, whatever comes out of my mouth, that's what I mean. So all of y'all, F y'all. And she's just leaving. And Marge is just like, y'all, like, it's supposed to, like, it was a nice gift, and she's just pissed that y'all turn it into, like, this ultimatum thing. Dolores and Frank leave. They get in the car. He's like, I didn't say anything. Why are you yelling at me? She's like, I just need 5 minutes. Don't say anything to me. I need to calm down. So the rest of them in the party are like, this is so awkward now. And Michelle's like, this is supposed to be a fun party. And Jackie's just like, it's not a party until somebody storms out. So that's the end of the episode. I get where Jackie is coming from. Like, it did seem weird that, like, Dolores, just at the reunion, was, like, very resentful and very hurt that David did not give her the ring after they built this house and they're supposed to start their lives. To now, all of a sudden, I'm fine, I'm living my best life. So it does seem weird, but still, stay out of it. Like, what she said is what she said. Like, she said she's happy, so she's happy. Like, and who, like, even if she's not happy, like, what are you guys gonna do about it? Like, nothing. So get off her back. And Jackie, like, shut up. I'm on your side this season, but, like, you need to stay out of this because you don't want anybody in your relationship. So just stop. And they just need to leave Dolores alone. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. What's interesting, though, is that I feel like she's going to be mad at everybody except for Teresa when Teresa was talking just as much mess as the rest of them. And that's one thing, even though I'm on Dolores' side, that's one thing I do not like about her. She will not hold her friends accountable, like, at all. She just lets Teresa skate by, and it's really annoying. It's so annoying. But that's the end of this episode. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments below. Please like the video and hit that notification bell so you're in the know when I release a new video. And subscribe. I would love to have you a part of Steph and Key TV. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.